Hey guys, and welcome to the Hobby News. Okay, so more previews this week, coming anyway. We've got dragons. So apparently it's Dragon Week for all G-dubs, and yeah, they're going to be releasing, I guess, the Stormcast Dragons that they wanted to release a while ago but couldn't due to various reasons, shipping and so on. So it looks like we're getting it. So I don't know if I think they're releasing. I don't think this is pre-orders. I think this is actually releasing next week. So we would be we are now Wednesday, so yeah, this weekend I guess we'll take a look. So dragons, outcasts, we've also got some Necromunda as well, which is kind of cool. So yeah, and knights and cave trolls. Okay, so we'll come down here with a beating of leathery wings. The Sunday preview is on us once again this week, delivering a titanic payload of new releases that's sure to have something for everyone. Check out the highlights right here. Yep. Okay, so yeah, we've got the two big ones. So we've got Krondus and Karazai. And I think, yeah, these will be doing really well. I'm sure everyone that loves dragons will be getting onto these. You know, we've got our Lion King dragons, which everyone knows what that joke is. Yeah, I mean, look, it's cool. They're cool. If you love dragons, I've already talked about these when they were first previewed. You know, they're cool. They're very sort of... They're very non-grimdark dragons, really. I mean, these feel very much like Disney dragons. I think it's just got to do with the faces mostly. They have a very sort of, yeah, I don't know, just like that Disney look, right? But that's cool. Like, Disney dragons are cool. So, you know, a lot of people will enjoy that. I think the ones that I like the best are probably the smaller ones, the ones that the Sigmarite, Knights ride or whatever. Those ones are pretty cool. But yeah, these big ones will also be good, I guess. You know, there'll be whole dragon lists and that sort of thing that everyone will be playing with. And we know that, they are going to be good because they even updated their points before they were released. So I think most people in competitive circles know this, that they've done an FAQ or whatever, a balance check on them to raise their points and so on, which you can find on the community page, just to sort of balance them out, as they're going to be pretty powerful, I'm sure. They're, especially for competitive play, you know, they move fast, all the things that you want out of a unit, these dragons do. So mostly the smaller ones, but even these big ones could be quite good in certain lists, I'm sure. But we'll see how the meta turns out, people in competitive play using them and so on, whether they'll actually be good. But I'm sure the smaller ones will be. Even at the raised points cost, they should still be pretty good. I'm toying around with them as well. I think that they'll be pretty good, even if you have like 2 or 3 of them in your list. I'm sure will be pretty cool. So yeah, we've got this one, and then we've obviously got the brother here, which is so you got the magic one at the top, and then you've got your combat focused one, and they're both cool. I think when we first talked about this, I think I talked about this. I would have liked to have seen possibly maybe a different wing position for this one, like just have like or maybe just have this one also folded in, like have like a separate piece that this folds in on, so you just have a different look, so they're not both exactly the same. But apart from that, they're cool. So yeah, and then we've got these. So these are the ones that I think will be the biggest winners when they're released. They're looking like they're going to be giving Stormcast a much needed, I guess, movement. The Stormcast generally are quite slow, and these really give you that movement so you can take objectives. They also work very well as like mini hammers as well, so they're going to be able to do the damage, all that sort of thing. So, yeah, it'll be an interesting change to the meta at the moment. Most Stormcast lists are using the long strike crossbows and that kind of shooting list with the Fulminators as the counterpunch, and that seems to be working pretty well. You see everyone running it. But with these releasing, I think it'll shift more to a more dynamic play style for Stormcast, which I think is probably, a more fun way to play ultimately. But, yeah, I don't know whether it's going to be whole dragon lists or whether you're gonna have a mix, or how that's going to work, or will you see long strike crossbows and these dragons run in the same list? I've been toying around with that to see if that works. It kind of does. I don't know whether it actually holds up in competitive play or not, but for your sort of match play games against your mates, like more casual, like club or hobby store sort of that kind of competitive play, it probably pretty impressive. But I don't know whether it'll hold up in like proper tournaments and so on. But yeah, it's going to be cool, right? So we've got these, and then it looks like so we're not getting the the leader, the one that the hero model. We're not getting that. We're just getting the units. So following these two brothers of the Storm Drake Guard, smaller than the Sons of Dracothian, these dragon riding Stormcast still pack an almighty punch on the battlefield, especially when fielded in all dragon armies. Yeah. So it looks like we're not getting the character yet. So maybe he's delayed and he'll be coming maybe the week after or something like that. It doesn't really show it, but I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be fun. Yeah, my own Stormcast army is coming along nicely. If you haven't seen on the channel, I've got a bunch of videos on how I do mine with a sort of color glazing Runelord brass kind of armor. Works really well, and I've got a few more videos coming out that'll be dealing with a lot of the other units and so on in the list that I'm running, but talking about things like batch painting and methods to get that done. My little In the Hobby chats has a lot of talks on that front, sort of how to tackle either painting models singularly or in large groups and so on. And I go through all of that, limited palettes and all that kind of thing. So if you're interested in that, just check those out. They're I think pretty helpful overall, or at least should maybe stimulate some ideas for you to approach your army painting maybe in a different way, or maybe hopefully more efficient ways and so on to get things done so you can get them on the table painted, right? So anyway, that's really cool. So yeah, let's move on and see what else they got. So I noticed this before with the Black Templar release. They released one of the other chaplains, I think, one of these old ones, and now it looks like they're doing the whole lot to, I guess, to sort of support the Black Templar release, so you can get some chaplains in there, do some conversions. So yeah, that's all cool. I love all the old school stuff. It's, I come from that era, so these are all fun models. It reminds me of the old days. I don't know how well they fit into the new Primaris size. They're a bit sort of a bit small, but they could be cool with mount them on raised platforms and so on, like on the base, make it taller, and they look pretty cool. So yeah, they'll be coming out as well. And what else? And then we got this dungeon bowl. So yeah, this was previewed a little while ago. It's a cool idea. I like it. I love Blood Bowl, and doing it in a dungeon's cool, like in these little tile sets. That's pretty cool. I can see that being pretty fun. So we'll see how that goes down. I'd be interested to have a little go of it and just see how it plays out, because it's sort of like a cross between like a board game and playing Blood Bowl at the same time. So I think that's kind of fun. But anyway, we'll see how this one goes. I don't know how much it's going to be, but yeah, hopefully not too expensive, and then maybe people will get into it. But I love the models that they previewed for this. They're looking really cool. I mean, Blood Bowl's just fun, right? So the more the merrier for that one, I think. So yeah, then we'll come down. So we've got more Blood Bowl editions. This looks like it's a Goblin set. Yeah, Goblin team accessories. Yeah, cool. So if you're playing Goblins, they're bringing out some stuff for you there. That's great. But this is what I want to look at. So the Necromunda stuff. So this Underhive Outcast gang. So yeah, really cool. I love that they do this stuff. As I've said before, I think the sub games generally are supported really well from GW. Just in terms of exploring ideas, I think there's a lot of great models in those ranges across the board, and this is no exception. It's cool that they've brought out something like this, because you can really play around. This would be great for Chaos Cultists. There's so many good 40k conversions here that you could do. Guard regiments. I mean, there's a bunch of different ideas that you could do, even for other game systems, agnostic, rule systems that like, I think it's Stargrave and that sort of thing, that do sort of like warband style sci-fi settings. These types of models would be great for that. There's a whole range of things you could do with these, and I think that's really cool. Like, the more of this, the better. This really does make me feel like the old days. Like I've said this before. It's like it's like the 90s, early 2000s 2.0. Like we're revisiting that whole thing, and this really does feel like that, but in a good way. Like, I think the sculpts are great. And one thing that's really nice about them is that they're mostly, the arms are out, so you can do some conversion work. No matter how these are cut up, the way that they've positioned a lot of the weapons and a lot of the bodies will mean that you can actually convert these and use the heads and the weapons for other things, and do a bit of work on them, which I think is really good. I think that's a positive. I like that. I think that incorporating some of their older design philosophy into their new models is a good thing. Anytime they do it, I think it's great, because that helps people out when they're wanting to personalize the models, and that's always fun, right? That's part of our hobby. It's part of what we like to do. So yeah, all in all, pretty cool. I don't know how they're going to work in game though. I don't know whether these will be particularly competitive, but certainly a fun one, like just in terms of like a hobby project for sure. And I like some of these. We're getting into some of the, I guess the fashion. The Underhive fashion. You got different types of armor plating, but even just clothing, like the sorts of clothes that they wear, like they're all a little bit different. We've got some different unique kind of looks here, which aren't usual for a lot of the 40k stuff, so I think that's also cool. We've seen a little bit of this type of ribbing armor here in some AdMech stuff, but not quite like this, which is great. This is sort of like your miner outfit, or someone who's working down in the Underhive there, just doing sort of laboring work. That's really cool, and they've sort of done some makeshift adjustments to make it into armor, right? Or maybe this is just like low-level enforcer type gear, in a gang situation or in sort of a work team or something like that. But yeah, all good. I love it. So I'm all hyped for that stuff. I really love the Van Saar models that they released. They're really cool. And this is great. So they got their book for it. That's all good, and we're getting I think these were released, previewed a little while ago, so it looks like we're getting all of this extra terrain. I like all this. This is sort of like, your sort of shanty town, your market. I think that's great. I really hope that they do delve into more of that, the sort of utilitarian objects, design out more of those types of kits, because that adds more flavor into the games. You have those little moments of interest on the board. It lets you kind of almost role play it, right? So you can kind of get into the setting more, and I think that's great. I love all this type of thing. So the more of that they do, the better. Little crates and little funky knickknacks and cups and just the general design of the objects, that the lived-in objects that these sort of characters come from. And I think it's appropriate that they do it in Necromunda, because it feels right that they do it there, because it allows you to create more unique scenarios and so on for it. In 40k probably a bit difficult, but here it's perfectly fine to have this type of thing, because they're going to be fighting over like local suburban kind of environments, that sort of thing. Well, their version of a suburb is more like a sort of a tiered underground cavern, that's full of layers of technology and broken machinery and so on, but some form of town anyway, or suburb. So that's really cool. So yeah, I like that. And I think, so we've got their cards and so on as well. That's great. And then this, I can't remember. I don't think I actually covered this, but yeah, they've got the this what is it? Sort of a chimera. Yeah. So that's for the Escher gang. I can't remember whether I actually covered this. I don't think I did, but that's coming out as well, which is really cool. I love this sculpt a lot for a lot of reasons. It's just breaking the mold of the standard kind of alien, xeno species that we see generally in the 40k armies. This is sort of moving away from that a little bit. We're getting some nice, interesting combinations of anatomy coming in here that really let you know that there's actually a lot more going on in the universe than just what we see. And I think that's really cool. I like the touch of the little bow here. I don't know what that's about, but it's very cool. For an Escher gang to have a little bowed thing on the hand there, that's pretty good. But yeah, just interesting shapes. I love doing this type of anatomy myself. I'm a sculptor, so I do all this sort of thing. If you check the link in the description, Blood of Gods, that's my brand. And you'll see a lot of this type of like, sort of monstrous anatomy stuff that I like to do. It's a lot of fun, right? And, even that's interesting with the three eyes on each side. There's a lot of cool little details on this that are just fun. And, I think that's great. And that's one of the strengths of this game, Necromunda, to be able to delve into all of that. And I like that they let them do it. They let the designers go to town on this sort of thing and just create interesting ideas. That's cool. That's all good. So then we've got some Lord of the Rings stuff. So this looks like its own little standalone game. I don't know, this like a board game version. I'm not quite sure what's going on here, but there it is. If you love Lord of the Rings, they've got their own little board game for you. That's really cool. And then Titanicus. So yeah, I've talked about this. This is cool. I wouldn't mind having a go of Titanicus. I think it's pretty interesting. It reminds me a lot of Epic and the sort of smaller size scales they used to do. I think that's really cool. So it looks like they've got some more for them. And then we've just got so some. Yeah, I guess, what's that, keychains or something like that, purity seal, just a bunch of paraphernalia there, some books, and that's pretty much it. But the main thing, I think, really for this one would be the Stormcast stuff and this cute little chimera thing there, and these gangers, which I think are really cool. So we'll finish up on that. Well, it is Dragon Week. Maybe we should finish up on the dragons. So I'll come up here. We'll give them their dues. So yeah, I think that's going to be really fun for Stormcast. I'm certainly going to muck around with them. I think for me, I want to do some black dragons. That'll be fun. So do some sort of black designs for this with different faded colors in the wings and so on. I think that'd be really cool. As if you have a look on the channel, my custom schemes are very sort of limited palette. You know, Yndrasta's got black wings. It's like very limited in terms of the color choices that I'm using, and I think that'll work really well on these dragons. So I'll definitely come up with something interesting and do a tutorial for it. But yeah, that'll be in the future. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this. Please hit the like button, subscribe button. It really helps me out. And I guess I'll catch you on the next one.